What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including the Wyatt 6 revealed, Eva Marie to return to WWE, is a Wyatt 6 vs Bloodline feud coming, Tiffany Stratton injured, Mia Yim in WWE Rumors, a pitch that was too extreme for Extreme Rules, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our top story looks at the Wyatt 6 revealed, and more Bray Wyatt news as Dave Meltzer weighs on which superstars could make up the Wyatt 6, the faction which fans believe will represent various members of the Firefly Funhouse. Meltzer speculated in this week's Observer that there is all kinds of speculation regarding the identities of the Wyatt 6 group. There are also said to be a long-term plan for the group to WrestleMania. There have been teased hints of Joe Gacy as Huskers, Grayson Waller as Mercy the Buzzard, and Alexa Bliss as Sister Abigail between social media for the first two, and a teased photo of Abigail with both the Raw and SmackDown women's belts which Bliss has held. Did Meltzer watch our recent video where we analysed who could join the group? If you watched, you know that we picked many of the same wrestlers with the exception of Liv Morgan, who we will think will play Sister Abigail. As for Morgan, Ronda Rousey doesn't think Morgan will join Wyatt's group, and at this point it's worth noting that the group has not been formed. Rousey commented on her YouTube channel that, "I don't know about that, I think it's more likely that the Wyatts have Alexa Bliss involved." If Alexa Bliss does reunite with Wyatt, it's likely the WWE will address Alexa's betrayal of the Fiend at WrestleMania 37. While the old regime may have glossed over this major plot point, it's unlikely to happen in the current regime. Next up, Eva Marie to return to WWE. Is Eva Marie looking to return? Eva teased a WWE comeback in a recent tweet, and that's just the beginning, as she hinted she wants to become Sister Abigail for Bray Wyatt. Eva's tweet had a video which said, "If I make this, I'm going back to WWE, tagging in Wyndham 6 and WWE. It seems as if everyone wants to jump aboard the Bray Wyatt bandwagon, and who can blame them? Wyatt is the hottest thing going in the WWE right now." Do you think Eva Marie is just teasing the WWE Universe, or is she looking for a way back after her 2021 return fizzled out? Next up, Wyatt 6 vs Bloodline feud coming. Now if Wyatt is assembling his own fiendish faction, fans want to know who the ghoulish group will face. With reports that Bray is going to be a SmackDown exclusive, the Bloodline seems to be a natural group of opponents. In fact, Zero News tweeted recently that early talks a pitch has been made for Team Wyatt vs Bloodline this year for Survivor Series. Alongside this, WWE is looking to do Judgment Day vs the OC and a mystery female. These are both very early pitches. While it looked like the OC will face the Judgment Day at Survivor Series, Ringside News reports that the Wyatt 6 vs Bloodline story was described as fake news by a source in WWE. Now, Wyatt 6 vs Bloodline feud could be huge, but the timing isn't right as the Wyatt just debuted and the WWE needs to develop it further. Likewise, Roman Reigns is likely being prepped for a possible WrestleMania match against The Rock. It makes no sense for either group to get into a feud now as they've been protected for the time being. But would you guys like to see that? Let us know in the comments down below. But what are WWE's plans for the Wyatt 6? As we've already seen, the group's existence seems to be a foregone conclusion by fans and critics. Assuming that's the case, what's next for the group? While the details are nebulous, Dave Meltzer is reporting there's also said to be a long-term plan for the group up to WrestleMania. Given the WWE's hire of Rob Fee as its director of long-term creative and the way the WWE executed Wyatt's return, it's possible the WWE already has a strong outline for the group's direction. Next up, did Saraya want to leave WWE? Saraya is in AEW now, but what were the chances she might have signed with the WWE after Triple H took things over in creative and personal? Saraya appeared on the Talk Is Jericho podcast explaining, "Hunter did reach out to me and he wanted to talk to me. He thought it was my decision to leave because he wasn't there at the time. He thought it was my decision to leave. No bro, it was Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis." Jericho mentioned that he pleaded with AEW President Tony Khan to contact Saraya himself because Jericho was convinced that Saraya was going to give the WWE another try. Next up, Charlotte Flair return. Now, believe it or not, Bray Wyatt isn't the only person in the news as this week's Observer has the much-awaited report concerning Charlotte Flair. Meltzer is reporting that Charlotte Flair is scheduled to return soon. While Snarks might note this that the WWE played a Charlotte Flair hype video recently, so a return seems inevitable, the Queen's return date has puzzled fans since her marriage to Andrade earlier this summer. Many fans and pundits were surprised when Charlotte failed to appear at SummerSlam and subsequent premium live events. However, Charlotte's husband noted that she's taken time off for personal reasons besides the couple's marriage, which likely explains why she's been gone so long. There's no word on when Flair will be back, but the WWE typically doesn't run hype videos unless a return is around the corner, with the exception of Veer, who may have set the record for the longest build-up before a debut. Next up, Cody Rhodes returning sooner than believed. Now, there's an important update on Cody Rhodes, who's been out of action since undergoing surgery for a pectoral tear. Dave Meltzer's reporting in this week's Observer that Rhodes appears to be a little ahead of schedule in healing. He's working with DDP. Things are normal for him in real life, but obviously any upper body weights he can use are extremely light. There's no firm date for a return this early, and even when there is, I would expect he'll be kept quiet for a surprise pop. Originally, the idea of a Rumble looked good, perhaps day one since it's in Atlanta and he grew up and still lives there. Any concrete return date should be treated skeptically, especially in light of the severity of Rhodes' injury. The last thing WWE needs to have is to have him return before he's fully healed and then re-injure himself. Next up, Tiffany Stratton injured. A bad news for Tiffany Stratton as the NXT superstar reportedly suffered a head injury. While the details are sketchy, Dave Meltzer noted in this week's Observer that Tiffany Stratton has been out of action with a head injury from a TV match with Wendy Chu. It's unknown when she'll be returning to the ring, but we're wishing her a fast and full recovery. Next up, Mia Yim in WWE Rumors. Is the WWE looking to sign Mia Yim back? Well, that's a story coming from this week's Wrestling Observer. Dave Meltzer commented on the recent exit of several Impact Wrestling stars, including Yim. Yim's contract expired, but she recently said she wanted to spend the rest of her career in Impact. In her case, there would be an attempt to get to AEW because of her husband Keith Lee works there, and WWE also has interest in her since they're trying to bring back so many of the people cut that were out of control of Paul Levesque. Would you guys like to see Mia Yim back in WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Jon Moxley nearly retired last year. Jon Moxley's new contract with AEW will keep him in the company for 5 years, but Mox revealed in an interview with Sports Illustrated that a year ago he wasn't sure what he wanted out of wrestling. A year ago I wasn't in the same headspace, I was all left up. I hated traveling, I was living in Vegas, felt like I was always in an airport, flying coast to coast, and I was sick of leaving my family. I thought about freelancing when my deal was up. Not that I would leave AEW, but I didn't want to be there every week. I was in a bad place. The current AEW World Champ talked about what changed his attitude. Then I went to rehab and all that. Now I'm in a totally different headspace. We're living in Cincinnati too, which is great. I look forward to going to TV every week. I get to see my friends in the Blackpool Combat Club. I'm not effed up. I have a clean headspace. My life is completely different than it was a year ago, and all for the better. Moxley said he wouldn't recommend a wrestler sign a 5-year contract, but he noted it fits his goals for wrestling and his happiness in AEW. As reported earlier this week, Moxley was working for several weeks without a contract in AEW and could have left the promotion to work elsewhere. Next up, Ronda Rousey pitched a brutal finish for Extreme Rules. Ronda Rousey is a new SmackDown Women's Champion after choking out Liv Morgan at Extreme Rules, but Rowdy Ronda apparently pitched a brutal ending for the match. You may recall Rousey wanted to use Lego building blocks in the match, but the WWE nixed this idea since someone in AEW had already used them. However, Rousey's other idea was too extreme, even for the WWE's all-stipulation show. Speaking on her stream, Rousey revealed, "I pitched the finish to be thumbtacks. She puts down thumbtacks, powerbombs me onto the thumbtacks, and as I repeat to our finish from before, I would go for an armbar on the thumbtacks, and they start counting the pin, but I would push up on my one shoulder into the thumbtacks to keep the armbar on. Liv would be fighting and trying not to tap, and then pass out face down into the thumbtacks, having a hand there to protect her face." Rousey explained the WWE's reason for denying the spot and her efforts to get it anyway. "They said we can't do thumbtacks anymore. Legally, we can't purposefully injure people and cut their skin." I was like, how about tiny maple leaf pins? No. How about a bunch of screws on their side? No. That spot would have been extreme. Do you think WWE should have said yes? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Edge to star in a Disney Plus series. And last but not least, Edge is heading to Hollywood again, as WWE released this statement, an excerpt which follows. WWE Hall of Famer Edge will be stepping back into the acting world by starring in the Disney Plus series Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which is expected to drop in 2024. Edge is no stranger to starring in live-action series and films with previous roles in Vikings, Haven, and Bending the Rules, to name a few. He will appear as Ares, the god of war, in a reoccurring role. Congrats to Edge on his latest Hollywood success, and there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.